Hi everybody, it's Marie here and I'm back today with a 12x12 process. This is part of the Mixed Media Frenzy YouTube hop, the one that happens at the end of each month, and that there is the layout we are lifting today. And I'm using a couple of Peartree Cutfiles. So I've got Build a Butterfly, I've got Butterflies and Blooms, and I'm also using a packet of the new Peartree Cutfiles Pieces. That one is called All That Glitters. Now, for this layout, I decided I would finally break out my new alcohol inks. I have never used them before. I've played around with them, as you can see there, because I've got a little swatch that I've done just to see what kind of colours I could get from each one. But I've never actually created a layout with them. Now, I'm not using standard cardstock. I am using Yupo or Yupo paper. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that correctly. But I'm using the Yupo paper because it's basically plastic paper. If you've seen any of the Tim Holtz videos where he kind of demonstrates it, you can't rip it. You can scrumple it up a little bit, but you can't rip it. So basically what that means is you can drop the alcohol inks on, they then spread as they dry. I'm kind of mixing all different colours together. I've got Laguna, Pool, Pistachio. These are the Ranger alcohol inks. And now what I'm doing is I'm using that little air blower. You can buy specific crafting ones of those, but that's actually a camera cleaning one that I may have now from my husband because he doesn't really use it anymore. And my plan is to have this beautiful kind of mix of these alcohol colours to back my cut files. I'm not planning on doing a great deal to the cut file itself. But I want to have all this colour behind, like in that diagonal stroke, just like the original. So I'm just playing around with, I keep going in and adding more, spreading it around. When you touch one alcohol ink to the next, it does kind of automatically start to mix, especially if the two are still wet. But alcohol inks do dry really quite quickly. So the other thing that I'm dropping on that you can see there is a bottle of clear. It's isopropanol alcohol, I think that's what it's called, and basically that moves the ink around some more. It dilutes it and it moves it around. Another technique that I do want to play with is adding a very small amount of one colour and then just repeatedly adding the isopropanol, because that can really make the colour spread, and then you get these beautiful kind of shaded areas. So I really do want to play around with this. So I purchased some 12 by, no I didn't, I purchased some A3 Yupo paper because I couldn't find 12x12, and I've cut it down, so it's slightly smaller than 12x12 at the moment, but I am going to back it because the Yupo paper itself, Yupo, is really quite thin. It's very floppy, it's very, very thin. Now I did leave that to dry, I haven't just turned it over, it has been left to dry for quite a while, and you just saw me at the end there add some of the gold mixative to give some gold shades. I need to play with that some more to see if I can get some different effects with that, but quite happy with how that's turned out so far. I've added some double-sided sticky all the way around. I only ever unpick the end parts of the paper just to make sure that I can reposition it if I need to, and then press it down and pull the rest of the tape covering out when I'm happy it's in the right place. So here's my cut file. I have decided I'm going to back this on vellum. I just want it to have kind of a softer feel to it. So that's coming back on vellum. And I've literally just used a Nuvo liquid glue pen, which I love. That's something I've just recently got, and for doing cut files, it's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, it's called Smooth Precision Glue Pen. So that's absolutely brilliant. Now, I did get a little bit of glue on my mat there, so I was just cleaning that down before I start cutting. And now I'm just going to basically fussy cut round the outside of this cut file. So there's a selection of different flowers on here and different butterflies as well. So I'm really happy with how my background's turned out. Like I said, I did back it on the full sheet. Normally I would gut a piece of cardstock. If all I wanted was a border, I would cut the middle out. But because the Yupo paper is so thin and floppy, it's the perfect thing for alcohol inks, but it is thin and floppy. I wanted to make sure that there was enough support and I didn't have just a really wobbly page, so I left the whole thing there. The piece of cardstock I used was just one from my stash. I am slowly, very slowly, trying to stash bust, but I actually think I buy more than I use. I'm never going to get there. never mind. So yeah, I just love the soft effect that vellum gives on the back of a cut file. And it's just another texture on the page. So that's the cut file basically backed there. And then I have also gone and die cut some little bits of foliage. These are just Sizzix sets, and I've cut 6 of each. I'm going to leave 6 white, and I'm using some Lindy's Magical powders, and I'm also using some Nuvo shimmer powder, which is basically very, very similar to the Lindy's. So I've got the Lindy's in Guten Tag Teal, and the shimmer powder I'm using is one called Atlantis Burst, and I've just popped some there onto that piece of packaging, mixed some water on, and then I'm just using a brush to basically saturate and completely cover those little die cuts there. And then I leave them on that packaging to dry, and then I peel them off when they are dry, and that works brilliantly. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking the butterflies from Build a Butterfly that match this cut file, and I'm using them, I'm just sticking them down on the middle of the like the butterfly's body, so that the wings flap up. I haven't backed these. I just kind of wanted that impression of a bit of movement, a bit more texture, a bit more dimension. So they just kind of sit on top, but not quite. They're not fully stuck down, so they can be lifted up. And I love that effect. I think that works brilliantly. So I've pulled back in my main sheet now. And I'm happy with the placement. The reason I've chosen the butterflies and the flowers is because I've got this beautiful picture of my son last year when we, you can get those caterpillars in the post. You can grow the caterpillars and they turn into butterflies, and then you release them. And we've actually got some growing at the moment in the house. And this was last year's release. He just loves to do it. We do it every year and he loves it. And he even saves up his own pocket money to pay for them, bless him. So now I'm just tucking in those little die cut pieces. The ones I've coloured, I've actually put on top of some white ones, again, just to give a little bit of extra dimension. And now I'm playing around with the title. So these letters, the favourite word there is from Bramble Fox, and the letters I'm using are from one of the most recent Pinkfresh Studio collections, Keeping It Real. And I wanted it to be your favourite moment, because his favourite moment of the entire butterfly caterpillar growing thing is the release of the butterflies, because you raise them in little pots until they go into cocoons, and then you put them in a net. And then as you're releasing them, you can put your arm in, and they actually do crawl onto your arm and land on your fingers before they fly away. And it's just the nicest thing to watch. So I've popped some foam on the back of the photograph there. I'm now just going to stick some sticky tape on the back of where the photo is, because you can't see that, and use a little bit more of that glue just on various places on the cut file. Just checking it's in the right position before I really press it down. Trying to make sure it's in the middle and straight. And then I'm just going to use the tiniest bits of glue on the ends of those bits of foliage and sticking those in. And like I say, I'm layering a darker one on top of a lighter one. Just that extra bit of dimension that makes it pop out. So I've done 3 of those, just randomly around that photograph. Really pleased with how that's looking. And just making sure, like I say, they're all stuck down and nothing's going to move. It does get all over my fingers though. So I'm really pleased with how that's going. I'm just going to use a little bit of glossy accents. Always have to unblock glossy accents. You can never just pick up the bottle. But just dotting little bits on the back of that perspective there and popping that in there in the middle of my title for your favourite moment. And now I'm going to put my Peartree Pieces. These are a new product from Peartree Cutfiles. I mean, I am the owner of Peartree Cutfiles, so I probably should mention that therefore counts as an advertisement, but these are our new little hearts. So there's glitter felt hearts and metallic hearts. They're both felt, but they have these gorgeous coverings to them. And I'm just going to use basically nearly an entire packet of the All That Glitters and just tuck them in and around. I like the way that kind of moulds in with the mixative alcohol ink that I used underneath that cut file. It kind of brings it all together. And I can't have a layout without putting some sequins on. So just dotting a few of the turquoisey coloured blue ones that I have. Ooh, that one didn't want to stick down. Just to add a little bit of sparkle. I love a little bit of sparkle on my layouts. We are almost done at this point. So just going to pop my sequins back away. Love sequins, they stick to you, really static. And now just a few little twiddles of thread tucked under the photograph. So like I said, this layout is part of a YouTube hop, the Mixed Media Frenzy YouTube hop. So please do have a look in the description box for the links to all the other people who have taken on this same layout, lifted the same layout and created their own ones. There'll be some absolutely gorgeous creations that you'll be able to have a look at today. So they'll all be in the description box below. Thank you ever so much for watching today. If you aren't already, please do subscribe to my channel, and I'd love it if you gave me a thumbs up. That would be absolutely brilliant. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon.